At number 1 has taken on number 2 each. 1 and 2 has won 19 times. The last time 1 met 2 was a game you and I were fortunate enough to be at in Memphis. That was back in 2008 when number 2 Tennessee defeated number 1 Memphis. For more on tonight's game, let's send it to Andy Katz.
Well, thank you, Dan. You talked about how big a game this is. On the secondary resale market, the lower bowl is averaging over $700 a ticket. How big a game is this? Well, Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo wanted to make sure the most famous alum, Magic Johnson, spoke to the team during the pregame meal. And I talked to Magic right before tip-off. He reminded the Michigan State team, you already are a team. This young Kentucky team is trying to become a team. He said he wished he had a game like this to play in when he played in during the regular season back in the 70s. Back to you guys.
All right, Andy, thank you. Here's another way to illustrate how big these games are. There are 68 NBA scouts here in attendance. Last time I checked, there are only 30 teams. But you've got 2, sometimes 3 scouts from various NBA teams here to check out a lot of guys who are going to be playing professionally before long.
Well, the talent level in these 2 games, basically we're looking at the green room at the NBA draft.
Ted Valentine and my kids Pat Driscoll are the officials. Kentucky's in white, Michigan State's in green, and we're ready for game 1 of what should be a terrific doubleheader here in Chicago as it's knocked all the way out of bounds, and the Wildcats will get the first possession of the game. And there's Julius Randle, who in 2 games has scored 45 points and grabbed 30 rebounds. Now, granted, all 4 of these teams tonight, Jay, they're taking it up a notch, a big notch in terms of competition.
Well, Randle is expected to be guarded by Adrian Payne. They did some pre-switching on that out of bounds underneath, so Matt Costello on him right now. He's got to keep him out of the lane.
Twins in the backcourt. This is Andrew Harrison off to James Young, the lefty, misses the 3, and Matt Costello, real energy guy, made his first start in the first game. Did not start last year, came off the bench last year, but he's worked his way, at least for now, into a starting role for the Spartans.
Well, the lefty James Young has got to hit some shots, as does Aaron Harrison, the best shooter on this team, because if they don't, you're going to see Michigan State just pack it in and try to make this team play outside in.
Experience for the Spartans, led by Appling and Payne, both seniors. This is Brandon Dawson coming off a screen. Gary Harris, the floater is good.
He moves so well without the ball. Gary Harris finally healthy after all those shoulder problems he had last season, and he is primed for a big year.
Appling had injuries last year. Travis Trice had injuries. Brandon Dawson had injuries. They're a much healthier bunch going into this season. Here's Randle trying to shake Payne. The kick. Aaron off to Andrew. Aaron the shooter. Andrew the point guard. Willie Cauley-Stein misses the jump hook. And Michigan State's going to look to run whenever they can. Dawson threads the needle. And the pull-up jumper for Payne, putting it on the deck and knocking down a 15-footer.
How many 6'11" guys do you see making a move like that with a pull-up jumper off one dribble from the corner? That was big time.
Randle turns it over. Dawson's got numbers. Payne the trailer. And now the foul going against Michigan State as they don't get the call or the basket.
Gary Harris, you can see him going against Aaron Harrison, moving without the ball. Comes right around and curls, and Harrison can't stay in front of him to discourage that pass. And he's got a really nice middle game. He can make a 3, he can get all the way to the rim and finish. But when you've got that little floater over the shot blocking ability of Kentucky, you've got a complete game.
You know, as you look at Kentucky come up the floor, they are huge, Jay. Their backcourt, the Harrison twins, are both 6'6". But Aaron is stripped. Appling jams it. Timeout, Kentucky.
Timeout, Kentucky. This is the 30-second timeout.
Michigan State is staying home on these drives. A terrific steal by Keith Appling. Took it the other way. Michigan State off to a great start in Chicago.
I think so, yeah.
Kentucky loves to drive the ball, and this Michigan State team is trying to get help on the elbow and the block. And when Harrison took it in there, Keith Appling stayed. He would recover on a kick and was really alert in stripping that ball. That's excellent gap presence defensively and help side defense by Michigan State. They worked on it all week. They worked on it today at the shoot-around, and Tom Izzo is getting exactly what he taught his team early on.
Kentucky has defeated UNC Asheville by 32, Northern Kentucky by 30, but here they are taking on one of the elite teams in the country in Michigan State. And for John Calipari, it's not only it's a coaching moment, it's a teaching moment. He's going to learn a lot about his young team, and had to call an early timeout. And we joked a little bit before. He said, hey, my team's not ready for this kind of a game. And Tom Izzo said, if that's the way you feel, why don't you forfeit the game? And Kentucky has shown up, but John Calipari might question how well they've shown up in the first 2 minutes of the game.
Well, they've taken a couple punches early, but you can bet this team is going to compete. What they cannot do, though, Dan, is settle for the first drive, for the first shot. They've got to move the ball from side to side, get to the second drive, the third drive. That's where they can make a defense break down.
They're starting 4 freshmen and a sophomore.
Michigan State is switching, looks like 1 through 3. They might switch in an emergency with Adrian Payne, but that's pretty much it.
Randall. As the shot clock gets down to 12, Harrison pulls his way inside. Cauley Stein turns it over. But then Michigan State gives it right back as Dawson stepped out of bounds.
And what a terrific defensive job by Gary Harris to move his feet and stay in front. And you're not always going to be able to move your feet and stop a drive completely, but if you can just angle it out, keep it from being a straight line drive and maybe slow that drive down a bit, it gives your help side a chance to recover, and that's what Gary Harris did right there.
First sub of the game, Kentucky, Dakari Johnson, a 7-foot freshman from Brooklyn, taking the place of Cauley Stein. So 5 freshmen on the floor right now for the Wildcats. And there's the drive again, but we've got a foul before the shot, and that is Andrew Harrison. And Andrew and Aaron, identical twins. Andrew's more of the point guard, Aaron's more of the scorer, but they both have big-time bodies for freshmen.
And both of them can drive it, especially Andrew Harrison. That's his strength. In transition, putting the ball on the deck and driving it. He's got a great crossover move. And anytime he encounters a big guy at the nail, at the middle of the free throw line, I think they've got to put their shoulder down and go right into him. They can draw a foul just like they did on Matt Costello, if not get into the lane and draw the defense completely.
Denzel Valentine has checked into the game for Michigan State. He's a little bit tangled up with Randall. Valentine, a very versatile player, can play any of the perimeter spots.
Michigan State looked like they were in a 2-3 zone, but they're basically just switching every exchange inside.
Boy, and their hands are swatting away the basketball at every opportunity. No basket. You could hardly hear the whistle. There was a foul on the initial attempt. But again, the Spartans are on every dribble and every pass that Kentucky makes.
When Kentucky gets the ball inside, they're seeing all green. And their spacing is not very good, so there's not a whole lot of options right there for Julius Randle to kick the ball out. There was nobody on the strong side for him to kick it out to, and everybody was standing inside the three-point line. That makes it way too congested.
Gary Harris at the line. You talked about the shoulder problem, that even though he had a very good year last year as a freshman, we didn't get to see a really healthy Gary Harris. It looks like we're going to get a chance to see that this year. And as you said, he could go from Big Ten Freshman of the Year last year to Big Ten Player of the Year this year.
Well, I think he's a complete player. He's got everything on the offensive end. He's an outstanding defender, and he can also rebound. A lot of dribble without much pass.
Young, the shooter, off to Andrew Harrison. Finds his brother Aaron. A little bit long on the 3. Michigan State pushing again. Valentine the lob. Dawson the finish. And another timeout for Kentucky.
This Michigan State team reminds me of the teams that Tom Izzo had back in 2000, 2001. Where the opposing coaching staff, all they did all game long was scream, "Get back! Get back!" What a pass by Denzel Valentine, the best passer on this Michigan State team. And also healthy this year is Brandon Dawson, who is a spectacular athlete. Came off an ACL last season, and that is head on the rim stuff.
Wow.
That's big time.
And I think there's no doubt you'll see that on SportsCenter a little bit later on tonight. Every year, almost every coach says, you know, we'd like to run more. but Tom Izzo means it, and he's got the health and the personnel to run more this year.
No question. And one of the ways you run is you've got to play really good defense, and you've got to be able to rebound. And Michigan State runs a numbered break. That means all of them know. They know exactly what lane they're going to run. If they're fly right, they run the right side of the lane, the right side of the court. Doesn't matter if they're on the left. Get to the right. And Kentucky has not had a good start. Both Aaron Harrison and James Young have had open jump shots. They have not knocked them down. And those two guys have got to make shots.
So far, it's experience trumping youth by a wide margin in the opening minutes of this game.
Now Brandon Dawson on Julius Randle. He's smaller, but he is just as strong. Randle's got to take him quicker.
Again, the ball gets swatted away. Randle needs some help. Three no good, and down with the rebound is Dawson. There's Alex Poitras missing the three, coming in off the bench, a sophomore for the Wildcats. Where Kentucky's scrambling on D2. Look at Dawson head above the rim again. He can't come down with a rebound, and back from the Cats.
Randle is an incredible rebounder, averaging 15 boards a game his first two. And look how Michigan State is staying home. They're right on the elbows and the blocks. And they are really packing it in. It almost looks like a zone, but it's not. It's man-to-man.
And a push, a foul called on Matt Costello of Michigan State, about the only thing that's gone wrong for Tom Izzo's guys in green so far.
Like St. Patrick's Day in Chicago, it's been all green early on. First it was Appling, then Dawson on the break. Magic Johnson in the stands. Denzel Valentine with a little magic.
Michigan State is playing extraordinarily well.
Yeah, I don't think the crying towel and violins have come out for John Calipari with all the talent he has recruited. This team is going to be very good. Gotten off to a slow start, but it's only 10-0. There's obviously a lot of time left, and you make a bucket, get a stop, and this game looks awfully different.
Alex Gowna into the game defending Dakari Johnson, who goes inside. Ball still loose.
Johnson got fouled on that play. Wasn't able to complete it.
Shot clock did not reset. Ball did not touch the rim. Again, the ball is stolen away, but out of bounds on the sideline. Nearly another opportunity for an uncontested layup or dunk for the Spartans.
Travis Trice's right foot was just on the sideline. Or excuse me, Gary Harris. And I think this is a pivotal time for Kentucky. They've got to get better spacing. They are right on top of each other once they make the first pass. And Julius Randle, when he gets the ball, has got to make a quicker move. He's been jabbing and messing around with the ball. He's got to get it and do something with some explosion, because he has got that.
They are 0 for 4 with 5 turnovers.
And 3 of their shots have been threes, mostly because Michigan State is really packing it in.
Young for 3. This is his game, and Kentucky's finally on the board.
He and Aaron Harrison are the two guys that can loosen things up and draw Michigan State a little bit further out on the floor. Right now, they've been packed in well inside that three-point line.
We'll see if that settles some nerves for the young Wildcats. Valentine is called for the offensive foul.
Alex Poitras did a really nice job of moving his feet, angling him out, and staying in front. And Denzel Valentine just took that left arm and pushed off. So you can move your feet without just putting your hands all over the ball handle. That was really good defense by Alex Poitras. You don't have to get in front of him and totally cut him off. If you just angle it and keep him from having a straight line drive, that's really good defense.
Aaron Harrison to the point right now with his brother Andrew on the bench for the Wildcats. Here comes Young off the screen again.
Michigan State right there on the catch. And James Young does a nice job of moving without the ball.
Harrison the drive, runner off the glass, no good. Poitras going in weak side for the rebound, lost it out of bounds, and it's Michigan State ball.
That's what Alex Poitras needs to do, is to keep going to the glass. That's his game. He's an outstanding athlete. He is big and strong, and had Aaron Harrison made that drive a little bit faster, I think he would have gotten an easier shot. Kentucky's been a little bit hesitant, and that's not where their best game lies.
Trice in the backcourt along with Appling and Valentine. Harris on the bench right now.
Adrian Payne was wide open in the post. He needs to get the ball there.
Shot clock inside 10. Bounce pass inside. Gowna spins and hits.
Kentucky asking for the walk, but Gauna made a nice catch and a good spin move without walking.
Tom Izzo's got a lot of big bodies at his disposal this year. More good defense, this time by Appling. Aaron Harrison cut off on the baseline by Denzel Valentine.
They are really packing it in inside that three-point line. Playing gap protection, the elbow and block, and then when the ball goes to the wing, they are right on the nail.
Now Harrison's got a launch, left it short. Randall with a rebound, and he draws the foul.
Julius Randle is so hard to block out. Alex Gauna trying to get him. Here's a little ball screen up top by Gauna. Good screen. He rolls to the basket. He might have gotten bumped, might have shuffled his feet just a little bit, but you can look at that wedge rebound. You cannot block him out. When he goes to the glass, he is going to be a factor in there. He is the most physically imposing freshman in the country and one of the most physically imposing players in the country.
Harris back in for Michigan State. Randall won 3 state titles, I should say, in 4 years in high school, and in his first week as a collegian was named the SEC Player of the Week for putting up numbers like these.
Against Northern Kentucky, he had a double-double at halftime.
He'll get a breather. Willie Cauley-Stein back into the game for the Wildcats.
That does not put a lot of interior scoring on the floor right now for Kentucky. Cauley-Stein more of a finisher off drop-offs, off offensive rebounds.
He's playing at the 4 spot right now on Dawson. Adrian Payne being defended by Dakari Johnson. And a foul on Johnson, and we'll see that look a lot, where a player, especially a young player, says, what did I do? And we saw John Calipari talk about it a lot at shoot-around today. Anytime a guy got a hand on a defender, Calipari blew a whistle and said, that's going to be a foul.
Once you get the ball, you cannot keep your hand. You know, you can use a hand, and it's not like you can't touch a guy that's got the ball, but you cannot keep your hand on the player. You can't keep an arm bar on the player, and you can never put 2 hands on the ball handle.
Payne creates a little space, a little bit short, but the follow is good. I think Dawson was in there to tip it in.
Kentucky just jumping. They are not boxing out and laying a body on the Spartans. And Michigan State, rebounding is in their DNA. That's what they do.
They have led the nation in rebounding several times and lead the Big Ten in rebounding almost every single season under Tom Izzo.
Well, the key for Michigan State to win this game is keep Kentucky out of the lane and rebound. When this shot goes up by Adrian Payne, everybody's ball watching. They're looking at the ball, gonna go get it once it comes off the rim, and nobody boxes out. And Brandon Dawson, one of the elite offensive rebounders in the country.
Just called for the foul. The 6th team foul committed by Michigan State. Floater no good for Andrew Harrison, and look, he's going to be a little bit careful swinging those elbows after the rebound. Tough look. Young keeps it in bounds.
Andrew Harrison needs to drive Trice and overpower him.
Instead, a no-look pass, and he throws it out of bounds.
And hangs his head afterwards. He's an outstanding young player, but he's got a matchup where he is bigger and stronger. And he needs to go right at Travis Trice, who's an outstanding defender and a really good player, but he's smaller.
He's got 6 inches and 45 pounds on Trice as he sits down. And now subs coming in for Kentucky as Randall is among those who return.
Part of the maturation of this young Kentucky team is going to be recognition. They've got to recognize when they've got a matchup advantage and recognize when they don't have anybody on them. And Andrew Harrison, the earlier play, didn't have anybody on him. And then against Trice, he had a matchup advantage. Needs to take advantage of it.
No basket. No basket. Foul before the shot. And it's going on Aaron Harrison of Kentucky. And that is the 2nd foul on Harrison. And that look betrays the fact that he knows he is headed back to the bench.
Well, he just grabbed the jersey of Gavin Schilling after that ball screen that was set. And one thing they're going to have to do is a really good job on out of bounds underneath, because Michigan State runs really good stuff to get shots.
Gary Harris gets inside, rejected by Cauley-Stein. James Young. Nicely done off the window, and Kentucky back within 7. After getting trailing 10-0 early, they've committed 7 turnovers, been forced to call 2 timeouts, but they're starting to show signs of life at the offensive end.
They can protect the rim and block shots, and you get a stop, you can take it the other way.
Payne, Schilling inside, no foul, and now a held ball. The arrow will keep it with the Spartans. A timeout on the floor here in the first half in Chicago. It was all Michigan State early, but here come the Wildcats, led by James Young, to get the deficit down to 7. Game 1 of 2 at the State Farm Champions Classic here in Chicago. Not many elite programs bring back as much experience as Tom Izzo's Michigan State Spartans have brought back this year. We've seen the experience and great defensive intensity from Sparty so far tonight.
Yeah, they've done it with defense, and they've done it with their gap presence. They've been shrinking the court. They've got a presence on the elbow and on the block. Keith Appling with the steal, digging down in the post, knocking the ball away and running off of it. But I think this Michigan State team should be up by much more than just 7 points right now. They've had a number of open court opportunities. They've missed some layups. They have not finished plays. Kentucky within 7. They should be down a lot more given the start that they've gotten off to.
You can see how much they bring back. A great note about Michigan State. Every player who's played 4 years under Tom Izzo has been to a Final Four. For that remarkable streak to continue, they've got to get to a Final Four this year for the seniors, Adrian Payne and Keith Appling. Truly remarkable that he's been to that many Final Fours. In the last 15 years, Michigan State's been to 6 Final Fours. No program in America has been that often. Look at that move by Trice. Wow. What a boost it is for Michigan State to have him healthy. Remember, he had that mysterious virus before last year, lost about 20 pounds, and then suffered not 1, but 2 concussions during last season. They're just grateful to see him healthy and able to resume his basketball career.
Trice guarding Andrew Harrison right now. He can take him down in the post and then run him off a screen. He needs to drive him.
Young has hit 1 3, a little bit strong here, and the rebound down to Harris, and they're running again.
This is an excellent running team, but that was really poor transition defense by Kentucky. Not only did they not sprint back, but nobody rotated back when Andrew Harrison went down along the baseline to take Trice with him. When that shot went up, there was no sense of urgency to get back.
Randall banging with Payne, knocks him down, misses the shot. Cauley Stein is the beneficiary of the loose ball.
And Michigan State even trying to push it up after a made field goal. One of the benefits of having a veteran team is Michigan State's got most of its offense in already. There's a lot of the stuff they ran last year. They know their roles.
Getting the bounce is Harris, who's off to a big start tonight as the lead grows to 11.
You can't let Gary Harris turn down that ball screen and go baseline. You have to force him into that screen. That was just way too easy.
Randall the kick. Andrew Harrison knocks down the 3.
That's what Kentucky's got to do. That was a good pass by Julius Randle. Trice was just sitting there waiting for him to drive it. And he kicked it to the open Harrison, who was ready to shoot. Those are the kind of shots that Kentucky's got to knock down because they're going to keep getting them.
Harris into double figures. He's got 11 already.
Gary Harris is a big-time player. I think he's ready to explode.
And Michigan State is 10 out of 14, 71% in the early going.
And it should be higher. They've missed some opportunities, missed some layups.
A screen by Cauley Stein to try to free Andrew Harrison. And now push from behind on Gavin Schilling.
Once the shot goes up by Young, you got 3 guys along the baseline. James Young goes for the steal in the backcourt. There's really no sense of urgency to get back. And Gary Harris just tears down the court. There were more green shirts down the court than white. And Gary Harris over the outstretched arms of Willie Cauley Stein. But that's awfully easy to be able to get his feet set like that and just waltz into a shot.
Now that was the 7th team foul on Michigan State, and I think there's a little bit of confusion as to who's shooting the free throws. I think the guy who's supposed to take the free throws just went to the bench, so they're going to have to get Cauley Stein back into the game. Willie Cauley-Stein, a 7-footer, came off the bench last year until Nerlens Noel was injured, then became a starter. Obviously great length and athleticism. What takes him to the next level, though? I don't mean the NBA, but the next level as a collegiate basketball player.
Well, he's got to get a better post game, something that he can rely upon, a reliable go-to move and then a counter move, because right now he's primarily an offensive rebounder and he plays off of penetration, drop-offs, lobs, things like that. He's not the type of player you can throw it into the low post and have him make a move.
Officials going to the monitor to determine who the shooter should be.
I mean, Willie Cauley-Stein was the guy that was fouled.
The journey to the tourney continues next Tuesday as number 13 Memphis takes on number 8 Oklahoma State. A couple of very good teams. Marcus Smart is back with the Cowboys this year, and that sets them up to have a terrific season.
Boy, what a game of great guards. Memphis has an outstanding core of guards. Josh Pastner's team, and Oklahoma State not only has Marcus Smart, but they've got the underrated Markel Brown as well, that if he didn't have Marcus Smart in his team, we'd be talking about all the great things that Brown does.
One of our primetime games, we got such a great schedule this year that has been put together with ESPN as Cauley-Stein misses the front end, but Kansas at Oklahoma State coming up on the 1st of March is one of the games that we've both got circled on our calendars.
Michigan State worked all week and worked today on free throw blockouts because Kentucky misses quite a few free throws and they go after their misses.
Appling misses from the baseline. Cauley-Stein with a rebound. Andrew Harrison with the drive, trying to finish. Got bothered a little bit by Valentine. Poitras in the right spot at the right time.
Alex Poitras has come into this game competing. Did a terrific job against Northern Kentucky, and John Calipari has changed his approach with Alex Poitras. He has talked to him about being a finisher, not a playmaker, a finisher.
And we have a delay of game warning on Poitras for touching the ball after it went through the hoop. So the lead is 9 for Michigan State. They led 10-0 at the outset of the game. The closest Kentucky has gotten is 7. Now a little indecision offensively on the part of the Spartans for the first time, and Appling will call out a new play.
Well, there shouldn't have been. They had the play called. They were running an elbow series play, and they just didn't get into it.
Valentine into the teeth of the defense. Fade away by Dawson, not there. And Kentucky ball.
But does Dawson have some lift?
Randall, a quiet night so far. Everybody gets a touch for the Wildcats. Randall spinning, stripped again. Michigan State running again. Wide open Appling. Got it. Well, a great transition offense there by Michigan State. And I think Ted Valentine is going to have a look, maybe if that was a 2 or a 3, Jay.
I think it's a warning for John Calipari to stay in the coach's box. That was a great job by Denzel Valentine to sit on that spin move by Julius Randle. That was in the scouting report. That was a great steal.
A 12-point lead, and Gary Harris, Jay, has led the way for Sparty.
Well, Gary Harris has done it every conceivable way. He's been terrific in transition. He's shown a terrific middle game and also a deep threat. An outstanding player. Really run. They're excellent defensively. They've done it. They've stuck with this. This game plan has worked perfectly because Michigan State has executed it to a T. They've been excellent in their gap presence. But Kentucky cannot be as hesitant as they've been, especially Julius Randle. He's got to catch it and make a quick move.
From the corner, James Young with his second 3 of the night.
Just catching it in rhythm and letting it go. When you got an open shot, James Young and Andrew Harrison, those are the two guys that have to take it and take it with confidence.
And Young's a Michigan kid from Rochester Hills, Michigan, as the lefty knocks down his second 3, and the Wildcats back within 9. Valentine tries to split the double team, nowhere to go. Appling will use the screen. Valentine with a shot fake, still going. And Johnson might have gotten away with going over the back of Valentine right there, but here comes Kentucky. Young again. Not this time.
Still a pretty good shot by James Young. Took it in rhythm.
Harris having a big night so far. Hits Gauna. Dawson. Just too much size for Randall.
And a good job by Randall of staying between Dawson and the basket, not going for any fakes.
And Appling is fouled out on the perimeter, and this time it is Andrew Harrison. And again, you see that bewildered look from some of the young Wildcats about the hand-checking fouls that are being called.
Well, he didn't get a lot of help here from his big guy who's supposed to step in and hedge. Dakari Johnson was playing back, and so he just reached out and kind of grabbed Keith Appling after he got caught on the Gauna screen.
Let's check in with Andy Katz.
During today's shoot-arounds, Tom Izzo said his #1 concern going into this game was how the officials were going to call the game. But as you guys saw during the shoot-around, Kentucky coach John Calipari imploring his players to keep their hands off. He had to stop practice multiple times to make sure they did that.
Now Gauna is called for the foul for Michigan State, so Kentucky will go down and shoot free throws. Give us your assessment, say, what are we, 5 days into the college basketball season, about how it's going with the new priorities in calling fouls.
Well, I think it's an adjustment for everybody, but I think it's gone very well. I mean, you've never been allowed to put your hands on a ball handler. That's always been a foul. And now it's being called and called consistently. It hasn't been called consistently over the last 5 years. And now it is. And the players are going to have to adjust to that.
You know, another thing that's going to be more important, until they adjust, you better knock down your free throws because you're going to get a lot of them as Young misses the front end. And now Randall is called for the foul, reaching around Payne.
And that was a foul last year, 10 years ago, and 20 years ago.
Just the team's 5th as Brandon Dawson checks back into the game for the Spartans.
Michigan State has not taken advantage of the great defense that they have played. This lead should be much bigger than 9 points. And that's just 3 possessions. And the way as explosive and talented as Kentucky is.
5 freshmen on the floor for the Wildcats, and none of them can stop Adrian Payne.
Looked like Payne got away with a walk, but a terrific finish. And you can't let a big guy drive it all the way from there in a straight line.
Randall steps into a 3. Well, Kentucky taking a lot of quick threes here tonight.
Quick threes, quick shots. They're really not making the defense of Michigan State move, and they're not making Michigan State make any decisions. And when you take a quick shot, your rebounding isn't going to be there, so you're not going to get any offensive rebounds as well. So you don't have any second shot opportunities, which are really high percentage.
Patience now by the Spartans. Shot clock down to 12. Appling calling for a screen as it gets inside 10.
Now getting the high screen.
The drive. Dawson had it. Payne's got it. Finishes, and a foul.
Dan, anytime that multiple defenders try to block a shot, it opens up the offensive glass. And 2 Wildcats tried to block that shot by Keith Appling, actually 3. And all of a sudden the offensive glass was wide open, not only for Adrian Payne, but for Brandon Dawson, 2 outstanding offensive rebounders. You bring those arms down, just raked across the arm of Payne. And Payne, who was all Big Ten last season, played USA basketball over the summer, finishes the play.
So we've seen a guy, Payne, who is 6'10", 245. We've seen a 1-dribble pull-up. We've seen a drive from the wing. We've seen an offensive rebound. He can shoot threes. He brought that into his game last year. He can do a lot of different things.
He can block shots. He can rebound. He has really worked on his game and gotten better and better. And he's gotten to where he can play far more minutes. Early on in his career, he couldn't play this kind of minutes.
Largest lead of the night for Michigan State.
Nice move.
And Randall finishes.
Well, that was a quick, strong move. No hesitation from Julius Randle on that move. He just overpowered a very strong Brandon Dawson.
Look at this. Look at that! Off a made basket, they rush it down the court, and the big man Payne knocks down a 3.
Boy, from the house that Michael built to the house of Payne.
It has been painful for Kentucky, and John Calipari's wearing a painful expression on his face right now. This is a much different story, and he knew it would be, than their first couple of games.
Last year, this Kentucky team could not stretch a defense because they couldn't make perimeter shots. And in this game, they haven't shown they can do it either. James Young has hit a couple, but that's been it.
Randall forced into a tough shot by Dawson.
Michigan State's defense has been phenomenal.
And a carry is the call on Appling.
There's a timeout on the court.
Adrian Payne, Jay, inside and out.
Well, Adrian Payne is a senior from Dayton, Ohio. He's outstanding shooting the ball from the perimeter, and he's shown great strength and has really played excellent defense in this one.
It out to a 15-point lead.
Well, because they've been collectively fighting together, and I think Kentucky has been fighting more individually. They're not getting to the second pass. They're not getting to that second drive or the second side of the floor. They've been settling a lot, and they've been hesitant. The paint has been absolutely dominated by Michigan State. They've dominated in transition, and they've certainly dominated on the defensive end, packing it in, really protecting that elbow, protecting the block, not allowing Kentucky to get any drives. And Kentucky's going to have to do a better job of moving the ball, and they're certainly going to have to make a stand defensively because they haven't done that. They've been easy to score upon. In fact, I think Michigan State should be up by more at this point in the game.
Led 10-0. The lead has grown to 15. Down to 13 after the putback. Willie Cauley-Stein with the offensive rebound and putback for the Cats.
You take a good shot, when you get into the paint, you've got a much better chance for an offensive rebound. And Randall, Willie Cauley-Stein, Poitras, those are outstanding offensive rebounders.
Harris and Payne leading the way tonight for Michigan State. Payne bowling his way inside for two more.
You've either got to bring somebody at Payne to dig down and get the ball out of his hands, or you got to double team him because he's going to just back Randall in and shoot over him. Well, the spacing not very good for Kentucky right now. They've got to get better spacing.
Andrew Harrison on the drive, just too much traffic. Trice, though, turns it over. And then a foul called on Payne as he's lying on the court. The second on Adrian Payne.
Wait, Trice and Appling have been like defensive backs that go after the ball and try to punch it out of a ball carrier's hands. They are going after the ball on drives. You see the ball loose on the floor, and Adrian Payne trying to dive on it, just catches the feet, kind of trips up James Young.
You know, as a coach, John Calipari can say, hey, it's a Tom Izzo team. It's going to be about toughness. It's going to be about rebounding. It's going to be about diving for loose balls. But as much as you say it, you can't simulate it in practice, what you're going to see here tonight, right?
No, because you've got freshmen playing against freshmen. And this Michigan State team not only has been through the battles in the Big Ten, they've done it throughout the years, and they've done it together. So they've had to rely on each other in tough periods. This is really the first time in an adverse situation that Kentucky's had to rely on each other. And they look as young as they are right now. But that's going to change going forward. This team's going to continue to get better. Right now there's not a lot of talk. You can't really hear Kentucky either. And maybe a little bit of frustration defensively by Poitras on that foul.
Boy, and they're using the ball screen a lot and with great success so far here tonight. Coming up at the half, it's the Mazda halftime report. Digger's there, Jalen's there, Reese is there. Analysis of the first half, a look ahead of the second half, and also they'll preview, I'm sure, tonight's second game between the Kansas Jayhawks and the Duke Blue Devils. The State Farm Champions Classic for outstanding programs. And by the way, this is year 3. Year 1 was in New York. Last year was in Atlanta. Here in Chicago this year. And we know, Jay, as it goes in for Harris, that there will be 3 more years as all 4 schools have re-upped again to do 3 more years. You rotate who you play every year. Indianapolis next year, back here in Chicago in 2 years, and then back in New York 3 years from now.
Just a tremendous event. Great for college basketball and great for these teams. Kentucky right now is going to have to do a better job of guarding ball screens. The big guys are going to have to get up and hedge hard and give their guards more help.
15-point lead, Michigan State. 2.5 to go first half.
Michigan State packing in. They look almost like they're in a zone, but they're playing man-to-man.
Randall, too strong. Follow, yes. Poitras again on the offensive glass.
Poitras has really battled inside. He is big and strong, had a terrific game against Northern Kentucky, and he's staying within himself this year, not trying to do things that he really doesn't do well. He's sticking to his strengths.
Harris the drive and the finish.
Poitras did not force Gary Harris into the screen. He turned his head, and Harris turned down the screen, got all the way to the basket. That is just way too easy. Ball screen defense for Kentucky has not been good.
15 for Harris. Young wide open, his third three of the game.
That's Kentucky getting to that second drive. When they get to the second drive, then they can kick it, and they're getting a shot in rhythm by James Young. That was well played offensively.
Harris feeling it. And Paulie Stein skies for the rebound, and a push is called on Michigan State. That'll be on the freshman Gavin Schilling, who's from De La Salle High right here in Chicago.
When Harris gets the ball on the left wing, he's guarded by Alex Poitras, and Poitras just turns his head. He needs to force him into that screen that's coming up from the post. Gavin Schilling set it, and he was just able to refuse that screen, take it baseline. The help by James Young was late in getting there. That is just way too easy. And John Calipari's got to be furious with his ball screen defense right now.
Paulie Stein misses the first. Denzel Valentine back into the game now for Michigan State as Travis Trice will have a seat.
Michigan State right now, they've got 40 points. I think they should have 50. And that's got to be bothering Tom Izzo, because 12, hey, it's a good lead. I mean, he would take that before the game. He said if you're going to be up 11 with a minute 35 to go in the first half, he'd take it. But I think he knows they should be up more given the way they played and how poorly Kentucky has executed.
They were up 10 about 3 minutes into the game. It was 10-0 and has basically been even since. Ooh, what a screen by Schilling.
An illegal one.
Appling can't finish, and it's out of bounds to Michigan State.
I didn't think Schilling got himself set. Looked like he just came in and took him out, but.
And they score on the out of bounds play to get the lead up to 13.
Michigan State really getting whatever they want on out of bounds underneath. They've gotten some easy opportunities and some good looks, and that was way too easy. You cannot give up a layup on out of bounds underneath. The first thing you do is protect the basket.
Brandon Dawson playing a lot of 4 tonight for the Spartans and doing a good job on Randall. The drive will go as James Young is keeping Kentucky in this game right now.
Well, he's been the only offense. Good screen by Schilling.
And Valentine with a strong finish.
And that's after a made field goal. Kentucky not even getting back after they make a bucket.
And another turnover. And Appling is fouled.
Well, you cannot celebrate after you make a hoop. You have got to get back. This is like the old Celtics advancing on the pass. And Denzel Valentine with a little bit of contact finishing it.
This is the trap game.
Well, I think Michigan's got a really good team, but they've got to get Mitch McGary back healthy.
Right.
You know, Glenn Robinson III had a really good summer. Got a chance to watch him and Mitch McGary at the Nike Skills Academy, but without Trey Burke coming back, he got people a lot of shots. Nick Stauskas was able to get shots off the penetration by Burke. They've got a young man named Derek Walton who's going to be taking over, and those are some awfully big shoes to fill from the National Player of the Year last year.
Another one of our Saturday prime, our game day games, Michigan at Michigan State. That comes up on January the 25th, part of the loaded Saturday night schedule. Got your whole game day gang is here. Reese Digger and Jalen are here in Chicago tonight. Dickie V is going to join me for the second game tonight when Kansas takes on Duke. Here the second game of the State Farm Champions Classic. Final possession if they execute. Shot clock is off for Michigan State, so Tom Izzo uses the timeout to set up the last play.
You want to take it with about 3 seconds left, maybe 4, so that you can get an offensive rebound, but you don't give Kentucky an opportunity for a run out.
Harris, who's had a big night. Off to Appling. And a foul against the Spartans. It'll be Schilling, and that'll give Kentucky a chance to shoot free throws.
Well, that is not a good foul, because you're giving Kentucky a chance to score 2 points, to cut it back down to 11 going into halftime and feel a little bit better about themselves.
And actually, I said Schilling. It was Valentine who was called for the foul, so Poitras at the line for Kentucky.
One thing you do not want to do here for Michigan State on the second free throw is allow a tip in. They've worked on free throw blockouts all week. preparing for Kentucky's misses and the fact that they are really good at pushing you under and going for second opportunities.
One of two for Poitras. And that will end the first half here in Chicago, and an impressive first half for Michigan State, led by Gary Harris, a sophomore, and Adrian Payne, a senior, both of whom are already well into double figures and have shot the ball extremely well. Two of the biggest reasons why Michigan State bolted out to a 10-0 lead, and they lead by 12 at the half, 44-32. The Spartans shooting 60% in the first half.
5 points. He said he actually kind of expected the way the game was going to start at the beginning of the game, but he said, now I'm going to find out what kind of team I have. They were kind of playing natural freshmen, a little bit too individual. He's got to see what kind of fight they've got in him here in the second half.
They were down 10-0. They're down 12 as we go to the second half. They were plagued by turnover problems, and of course you turn it over against a team that's good in transition, you're going to get hurt. And Kentucky got hurt by Michigan State's transition offense in the first half.
And 12 points, a double-digit lead is not that big of a deal. If you can get a quick bucket, get something from the free throw line, get a couple of stops, couple of scores, all of a sudden a lot of game pressure goes on Michigan State. And Michigan State played that whole first half without a lot of game pressure on it.
By the way, the Harrison twins, Andrew and Aaron for Kentucky, went 1 for 7, 3 points in a very quiet first half for both of them. Andrew number 5, Aaron number 2. Randall, good aggressive move, goes to his strong side, and that is a powerful finish by Julius Randall.
And it was a quick move. There was no hesitation on the part of Randall. That was a great move that he just made there. We didn't see that in the first half at all.
Harris off a screen again. Can't finish, and the rebound down to Aaron Harrison. Kentucky looking to push. Great hands by Dawson. Great anticipation.
A weak pass by Aaron Harrison. He is stronger than that and needs to play stronger than that.
Adrian Payne with a big first half, and a foul going against Kentucky.
Julius Randall can play on the perimeter, but he can also play inside. And when he catches his ball, instead of hesitating, he took it right into the middle and then turned to his strong hand. He's a lefty, and he's got a variety of ways to score inside.
Randall just picked up his second foul. Well, you said it. Michigan State should be up more. John Calipari said it. He feels fortunate his team isn't down by 25. It's a 10-point game. And now an offensive foul going against the Spartans on Payne. That'll be his third.
Well, that's one of those cheap ones that you don't want to pick up, but you can see Payne trying to get position. He gets tangled up and just uses that elbow. There probably wasn't a whole lot there, but it didn't look particularly good. Got called for the foul.
He becomes the first player in the game on either side to pick up his third foul. Randall very aggressive early in the second half.
Oh, what a terrific spin move. He is a big-time player and starting to play like it.
Dawson, no. Rebound Young. Does not have the numbers and turns it over.
That's where you got to give it up to a guard. The instincts were good, the execution poor, and Kentucky's had some opportunities in the second half that they haven't been able to capitalize on.
11th turnover committed by the Wildcats again. Pick and roll basketball. Crowd, at least the Michigan State fans, want a goaltending call. They don't get it.
What a spectacular block.
And what a spectacular finish by Randall again.
Well, Kentucky has really hung in there in this second half.
Appling draws the foul on the drive, but the story in the first 2 minutes of the second half is Julius Randall.
3 times he's gotten the ball in the post, and 3 times he did not hesitate. The first half we saw a hesitant Julius Randall trying to feel his way around the floor, making jab steps. In the second half, we've seen an aggressive Julius Randall. This is the guy that was averaging 22 and 15, not the guy we saw in the first half.
And the noisiest we've heard the Kentucky contingent tonight. They were down 10-0 right out of the chute.
Randall getting the ball this time on the right block. Just a quick spin move and a strong finish at the rim.
And you expect them to keep going right to him, especially if Payne's on him, because Payne's got 3 fouls.
Yes, and because it requires a double team. That's a guy down in the post you will have to double team if he keeps making moves like that. And once you have a double, he's a good enough passer where he can get it out of there, and they can attack the rim or get an open shot.
And he's going right into the chest of Payne early in the possession, trying to establish position as Andrew Harrison knocks down the jumper, his second field goal of the night. Again, it's a 6-point game. Appling, Costello, blocked by Cauley Stein. Misses the follow. Kentucky can get even closer. And Aaron Harrison could not handle the pass from his brother.
Not a very good decision by Andrew Harrison. He was leading his brother Aaron basically out of bounds toward the corner rather than toward the basket. And Kentucky's had 3 different opportunities in transition in this second half where you can make an argument they should have the lead if they were able to capitalize on those. But it's a 2-possession game. They have really fought back in just under 3 minutes to make this a ball game. Now Michigan State's got some pressure on them to execute. They played with a cushion for most of this game. That cushion is gone.
And Tom Izzo's put Adrian Payne on the bench with 3 fouls. Denzel Valentine is in. The Spartans go smaller. And how about that 4-man? Move it into the power forward spot. And Brandon Dawson has excelled in that spot tonight.
They're isolated in the low post. He's smaller, but he is just as strong as Julius Randle.
And he's guarding him on this end. Randle draws a crowd and turns it over. Another Kentucky turnover. That will be their 13th of the night.
It wasn't there. That's one where if he passes it out, he can get it back and repost. Michigan State's really gone after the ball.
Harris misses the 3. And Dakari Johnson down with a rebound.
That's not the quality of shot they were getting in the first half.
Randle turns it over. Valentine ahead to Appling.
Randle just needed to give that ball up. He was sloppy with the ball, and it cost him a bucket.
Timeout, Kentucky. 3:25. Michigan State leading Kentucky by 10 early in the second half here in the game. One of the State Farm Champions Classic, and we have seen some pretty good glimpses of the ability and potential of Julius Randle here in the second half.
Well, Julius Randle being isolated on the low post by John Calipari and getting into the middle, the up and under move, and the finish through contact. And he did it on both blocks. He was making quick, strong moves, and there was no help coming to him. Matt Costello not getting over there in order to contest that shot. But there was also some mistakes on the part of Julius Randle and Kentucky after that terrific start to the second half. Not being strong with the ball, turning the ball over. Andrew Harrison throwing it away as well. 14 turnovers in the game. 10 of them have been live ball turnovers that Michigan State could take the other way and get some easy opportunities.
And if Kentucky could hang on to the basketball, they'd be right in it. They have made their last 7 shots going back to the first half, but they're still down by 10. Young has hit 3 threes tonight. This is that one, kept alive by Johnson, and he is clubbed as he tried to go back up.
Well, that was a good shot by James Young, and an excellent offensive rebound by Dakari Johnson. And when this Kentucky team really starts firing on all cylinders, they'll get not just to that first drive, but they'll get to a second drive and perhaps a third. And then they'll be able to get deeper into that lane. They haven't really been able to get into the lane because of how packed it's been and the fact they've settled a little bit.
Johnson attended middle school in Lexington before his family moved to New York City. Here he is as a member of the Wildcats. Has not gotten quite the hype of Randle or the Harrisons. What does he bring to the program?
Well, he's got terrific hands and really good feet. And he can make plays in the post. He doesn't really change ends as well as really Cauley Stein or some others, but boy, his hands are terrific. Got a really nice feel for the game.
Adrian Payne on the bench with 3 fouls for Michigan State. The lob, and Appling the finish. Dawson the assist.
Gary Harris cleared the left side, and Keith Appling just looped around the high post and was wide open for the lob. Not enough pressure on the ball to take away vision.
13 on the night now for Appling. Kentucky got it down to 6, but a 6-0 run for the Spartans has made it a 12-point game again. Andrew Harrison probing. The kick to Young, another 3, and Valentine got a finger on that, but the finish is good underneath for Johnson.
Well, James Young got that shot blocked a bit, and Dakari Johnson able to follow the flight of the ball as the offensive rebound. He's given them a big lift in the second half.
Magic looks a little more concerned, although the Spartans still lead by 10 here early in the second half.
Versatile team in Duke that's got outstanding wings, especially Rodney Hood and Jabari Parker. Parker can even play the 5. I think the key is going to be the glass. Whoever dominates the glass is going to have the best opportunity to win.
So many people looking forward to seeing Jabari Parker, Andrew Wiggins for their respective teams. Valentine might have gotten away with a walk. Ted Valentine, no relation, says that he didn't. There's Brandon Dawson. Pull up in traffic, short. And the rebound down to Randall's. Had a very good second half.
If Kentucky could hit some free throws, they're 6 of 13 in this game. They've got to be able to knock down free throws. This is a team that is going to get fouled.
Can they take advantage of Adrian Payne being on the bench with 3 fouls as we have a held ball?
Andrew Harrison tried to split that screen and split the defenders. He just took it into too much traffic.
And there's Adrian Payne on the bench with 3. He was dominant in the first half at times.
It's all part of the maturation of Andrew Harrison, is the decisions that he makes out on the floor. He's made a couple of questionable decisions in transition. That was a questionable decision to take it into the lane and take it into traffic. You could see a 1-to-2 assist turnover ratio. He is a terrific young player. He's going to be really, really good.
Dawson thinking about the jumper, now driving on Randall. Matt Costello with the offensive rebound. Shot clock did not reset, and now a foul on Dakari Johnson. College basketball is back next Tuesday. Look at this game as the journey to the tourney continues. Memphis taking on Oklahoma State. It's Tuesday at 8 Eastern, live on ESPN and also watch ESPN.
Michigan State trying to make Kentucky guard them.
The drive and a foul. It'll be on Andrew Harrison. And again, at the same look that we saw from him in the first half when somebody drove on him and he reached out and made contact with his hand.
Well, the problem is he's not forcing Appling into the screen. You've got to force him to use that screen. Michigan State's been turning down those ball screens and getting to the rim at will. That's just a positioning issue. You get blown by, especially for young players, your natural tendency is to put your hands out. You're putting your hands out to impede the ball handler. That's going to be a foul.
Now switch on the screen. Appling guarded by Cauley Stein. Right into the chest of the big man. Off balance shot, no. Kept alive, and another offensive rebound. Valentine for 3.
Alex Poitras looked like he could have had that ball, but he was leaning to leak out instead of going back to the glass. All 5 white shirts for Kentucky have to go to the defensive glass. He didn't. And a wide open 3 for Michigan State as a result.
Kentucky headed down to 6 a couple of minutes ago. It's back up to 13. Randall spinning and another turnover. Dawson. Harris. Air ball. The 7-footer Cauley Stein leading the Cats up the floor. Crossover by Young. Not just a shooter, Joe.
He's a really talented player. He's been basically all of Kentucky's offense. He has 17 points in this game. He's been terrific.
Payne among those getting ready to check back in for Michigan State. He's been out several minutes after picking up his 3rd foul. But the Spartans have played well without him. Valentine rejected. Young cradles it and is fouled by Harris and will shoot 2.
Kentucky is not far off of cleaning a lot of these problems up. When this shot goes up, Alex Poitras he could have had that ball. He was leaning to go the other way. And he's got to get in there and rebound. That's what he does best.
We mentioned it earlier, Kentucky only 6 of 13. Now 6 of 14 from the free throw line.
You see how Young just stepped after he released that. He didn't stay on the line. And he's a really good shooter. But that's 6 of 14. That has them. They knock down free throws at a higher rate. They are in this game. I mean, they're in it now, but they're within striking distance.
Turnovers and free throws, the two biggest differences in this game. They've now missed their last 6. Appling, nobody stops the ball.
It was just way too easy. Terrific job by Adrian Payne to give a little screen so that Appling could get all the way to the rim.
And a delay of game warning on Appling, who touched the basketball after he laid it in.
Just not a sense of urgency to stop the ball. And James Young, he has not done a very good job in his transition defense. Offensively, he's been terrific, but he's given up some buckets in transition as well.
Aaron Harrison, wild shot that goes in. And for Aaron Harrison, his first 2 points of the night.
He got 2 fouls early, got taken out, only played 7 minutes in the first half. Hard to establish rhythm when you're sitting down.
Matt Costello with a baseline spin had the mismatch on Dominique Hawkins, a 6-foot freshman out of Richmond, Kentucky. So he went to work on him and drew the foul. One thing that John Calipari has this year is more depth. He often lamented last year that if one of his young players wasn't playing well, he kind of had to leave him in the game. He didn't have a lot of alternatives. He's extremely young again this year, but he's also got more bodies.
No question. And he's got a ton of talent. And I think this team is going to continue to get better and better. The one thing they have to do is get stronger with the ball.
Wide open Trice. And good rebound in traffic by Cauley Stein.
He climbed the ladder on that one. Michigan State has really gotten back. They've packed it in. It has been really hard for Kentucky to get drives and get into the paint.
Payne down with a loose ball. Again, Spartans looking to push. Costello lays it in on the long feed from Appling. And Cauley Stein is down and injured for Kentucky.
This has been the best Michigan State has run in 10 years.
Sometimes the ball doesn't even hit the court.
This is the way to run a break. Bad shot being the first pass in the fast break. It leads ultimately to a pass ahead. Matt Costello did a great job of running the floor.
Thousands of people are in this building from all 4 schools. Some of them have good seats, some of them have nosebleeds, but they're in the building for a great event. The Izzone has come to Chicago. And Duke and Kansas still to come in the second game tonight. You'll get a chance to see Jabari Parker. You'll get a chance to see Andrew Wiggins. And there's 2 other iconic college basketball programs tangled here at the United Center. Another tough basket for Randall.
A little bit more aware when Randall took the ball in the middle. Michigan State tried to take it, but he was stronger with it. But Kentucky's shooting over 64% in this second half. The problem, they've got 7 turnovers, and that's led to 7 points off those turnovers, and has made it awfully difficult for them to really cut into that Michigan State lead. They cut into it early, but they kind of gave those points back with their mistakes.
Third foul on Andrew Harrison. Ted Valentine, one of the officials, coming over during the timeout to remind us that both teams have a delay of game warning on them, and both teams have a bench warning on them. So both teams at risk of a technical foul here. Emotions are high here in the middle of November.
That steals number 12-1, and the 10 turnover difference is really the difference in the game. Yeah, Kentucky has hung on the glass. It's not been they've been beaten on the glass. It's been Michigan State's defense and forcing those turnovers.
Payne got Randall in the air, switches hands, too strong, Kentucky ball. Poitras had it rejected by Payne, got it back, and draws the foul. Good work tonight on the offensive glass and around the basket by Alex Poitras. And John Calipari's looking for a little more consistency in terms of his intensity this year.
And he's been getting it. Alex Poitras has been really good this season. He's limited his sphere of what he's trying to do. And we mentioned earlier that Calipari's been telling him, you're not a playmaker, you are a finisher. And that was a much better decision by Andrew Harrison in transition. Instead of forcing it, he pulled it back out, got the ball along the baseline to Poitras, and they wound up getting something good out of it.
Costello back in for Schilling for the Spartans.
Even with all the mistakes that Kentucky has made, the youthful mistakes, they're in this game. And they've continued to play hard and continued to fight.
Got it down to single digits. Better than a half of basketball, or half of this half, better than 10 minutes still to go. You can hear the Kentucky fans start to make more noise. Trice off to Payne, still plenty of time to shoot. Dawson, tough spinning shot. And it's Spartans ball.
My kid's saying it went off of Julius Randle. Looked like it was off of Adrian Payne. Probably have to go to a ball screen here because that's been their most effective. And it's been the most difficult thing for this Kentucky team to guard.
Michigan State shooting only 29% in the second half. Costello, and a foul on Johnson. And that's about the fourth or fifth time we've seen one of the Kentucky freshmen put his hands on his head after a foul call and say, I can't believe it.
He's got his right hand right in his back. And once a player gets the ball in the post, you got to take the arm bar off and you got to take your hand off.
Fourth on Johnson. And bonus situation now for Michigan State. Costello at the line. A sophomore from Bay City, Michigan. Had a back injury early last year, but eventually worked his way into the rotation, and a guy with a lot of energy. And a little too much energy right there.
Yeah, one thing with the post defense that Dakari Johnson just played, you can still use your body and hold your ground and be physical. You just can't do it with your hands.
Third on Costello.
If Kentucky can get a bucket here, I think it can go a long way to changing the tenor of this game and putting a little bit more pressure on Michigan State. They got that cushion back, and Kentucky needs to put some more game pressure on them.
And the Kentucky fan base is about ready to explode, many of them standing down to our right. Young off to the slashing Randall, and one.
James Young got a piece of the paint and a really nice cut down the lane by Julius Randle. You can see the body balance. He got hit and still with that left hand able to finish the play. Terrific strength and terrific concentration. And now Kentucky needs to finish it off by making a free throw. And that's not been a strength of theirs in this game.
Randall makes it. 3-point play, 11 and a half, 15 on the night for Randall. It's a 7-0 run to get it down to 6. Good D by Randall. And a late foul call coming in on Randall will send Payne to the free throw line.
But that was great defense by Julius Randle. Unless he caught him up on the hand as he was releasing the shot. I didn't see it. But he could have got him on the hand. Really good defense by Julius Randle. Keeping his hands up, staying between his man and the basket.
He wanted a travel call right there.
Yeah, he caught him on the arm. He caught him on the arm. Boy, everything was perfect except for just catching him on the arm.
Appling back into the game for the Spartans. Michigan State led 10-0 early, led by as many as 15. in this game, and it's down to 6 right now with a lot of basketball left to play. Make it 7 as Payne makes 1 of 2.
See if Kentucky can get to that second and maybe even third drive. That's a 4th on Adrian Payne. What a bad foul. Just chucked Julius Randle as he was trying to come across the lane. That was not a smart play by a senior.
So Payne's going to have to sit down. He has played sparingly because of the foul trouble here in the second half, and a pretty easy call, as Valentine takes his place and Michigan State has to go smaller.
And put one of the better free throw shooters that Kentucky has on the line.
And we will see a lot of free throws. Both teams in the bonus with 9:23 to go.
One thing Kentucky has done a much better job of in this second half is defensively. They have stayed between their man and the basket and made Michigan State shoot over them.
And now a Kentucky foul.
There's Willie Cauley-Stein going over the top.
The team's 9th foul already this half, the 2nd on Cauley-Stein. And Aaron Harrison will return for James Young for Kentucky, as Alex Gauna will shoot 1 on the bonus for Michigan State. Game 1 of 2 here with the United Center in Chicago, the State Farm Champions Classic, the 3rd year of this great event. New York 2 years ago, Atlanta last year. Michigan State and Kentucky are both 1-1 so far in the first 2 years. Duke's 2-0, Kansas 0-2, and it'll be the Jayhawks and the Blue Devils in the second game here tonight.
Well, Kentucky knocks down the 3 here. They can make it a 1-possession game. Randall's got to get the ball.
He does. And Harris reaches in and is called for the foul.
You have to go down and double team him. He's too much for one defender to handle when he gets positioned down low. So if you don't bring it double at him, but you can't go down and foul him because he's been knocking free throws down.
So Jay, we've had a lot of whistles here in the last couple of minutes. How many, if any, in this recent group of fouls do you think are the so-called new fouls that are being called this year?
None. I mean, well, the one on Dakari Johnson was one of the fouls where you can't keep a hand on a guy. That probably wouldn't have been called last year, but I mean, that was a clear foul right there.
Randall gets the bounce. He's had 13 points already here in the second half. Young hit some threes in the first half. Randall's taken over inside in the second half. And the Wildcats are creeping closer.
He's showing some emotion out there.
Poitras doing his thing.
Michigan State worked on it. They didn't box out, and Kentucky took advantage. This is a big possession right here for Kentucky.
Andrew Harrison off to Poitras. Now looking for his brother, finds Aaron, kicks it inside. It's Randall again, and it's a three-point game. Timeout, Tom Izzo. Jay, what's been the key in this run for the Wildcats? So an 11-1 run has gotten Kentucky as close as they've been all night. They are down by 3 with 8.5 to go.
I'll tell you what, Dan, when something is working, you go back at it. And Julius Randle's got to keep touching the ball because good things have been happening. And when the defense collapses, he can kick it out. If guys are ready to shoot, they can get open looks.
What does Michigan State need to do on offense?
Well, they need to get, I like the ball screen action they're running. I think they can get something off that, but they've got to take better shots. And they've got to do a better job of getting out in transition.
Remember Adrian Payne on the bench, 4 fouls.
It's a terrible shot.
Appling with kind of stepping into a 3 on the bounce. Never gave it much of a chance. Harrison just driving right to the goal, and it's a 1-point game.
It is amazing that when you take a bad shot, almost always turns into a layup or a great shot on the other end.
Appling. Nice dump off to Gauna to restore the three-point advantage for the Spartans. First field goal in almost 4 minutes for Michigan State.
Harrison setting a screen on Dawson to get Randall into the low post, trying to force a switch. But even with Dawson on him, they need to go into Randall.
A three. Put back, no. Randall's got it now and draws the foul.
A great job by Willie Cauley-Stein to keep that ball alive.
Michigan State still leading, but the youthful Wildcats showing a lot of fight here in the second half in Chicago. They've got a double-digit deficit down to 3, led by their outstanding freshman, Julius Randle. Considerably thanks to Julius Randle of Kentucky.
Well, he's been the man of the match in this second half. When he's gotten the ball inside, he's made really quick moves. He's commanded a double team. Tremendous strength, body balance, and touch. He has been unguardable by just one man. And he's made really good reads. Adrian Payne guarding him when the ball goes inside. Payne gets caught in no man's land, kind of fake trapping on James Young inside, and Randall takes advantage of it. And for Michigan State, Gary Harris has got to get more involved in this second half. He has not scored. He had 15 points in the first half, had a great first half, getting out in transition, driving it, hitting open shots. In the second half, I don't even think he's gotten a rebound. He's got to get involved for Michigan State. Their offense has been stagnant in large measure because he has not been aggressive as a scorer.
And 3 big guys, each with 4 fouls for Michigan State. Gauna, Costello, and that guy right there, Adrian Payne, who has played sparingly here in the second half. And you know that at some point Thomas is going to pull the trigger and put him back in. He's gotten very little out of Payne or Harris in the second half after they were the 2 best players on the court in the first half. And a couple of missed free throws for Randall.
Yeah, the free throw line has really hurt Kentucky.
There's Harris laying it in transition.
Maybe that'll get Harris going. And boy, Kentucky can't afford off a missed free throw to give up a layup on the other end. Transition defense has really got to improve for this team.
Michigan State's got 19 points in transition to 2 for Kentucky, but Randall dominating inside to keep them in it.
Well, Brandon Dawson is one of the better defenders in the country, and he can't handle Julius Randle. And that tells you a lot about how good Randall is.
Harris into too much traffic. Aaron Harrison is fouled by Appling and will shoot a couple.
Well, that's Aaron Harrison using his strength in transition and not allowing the smaller Keith Appling to stop him.
Aaron Harrison, the number 1 ranked shooting guard in this class, this freshman class, and his brother Andrew, the number 1 ranked point guard in this class. Aaron, by the way, for what it's worth, 1 minute older than Andrew. And 6'6", 215. Great size in the backcourt for Kentucky as Andrew comes back into the game. But again, the free throw line has been a major problem for Kentucky tonight. They're 11 of 25.
That's the ball game right there. I mean, in a 1 possession game to miss 14 free throws. It's not just, it hasn't just been the missed free throws. On a couple of those missed free throws, they've given up things on the other end.
Randall on the bench right now for Kentucky. Marcus Lee is into the game for the first time. A 6'9" freshman who had 17 points. That's him with a rebound in Kentucky's first game of the season. So he's given Randall a bit of a breather.
It's been 1 and out for Michigan State. They're driving it, shooting over the length of Kentucky, and Kentucky's shot blockers around the rim have really bothered Michigan State. They've not kicked it out to any open shooters, and they haven't gotten any offensive rebounds.
6 minutes to go. Kentucky with the ball down by 2 in a game they have trailed by as many as 15. It's a game in which they have never led. 5 to shoot. Got to get a shot off. Harrison saw it, missed it, and down with the rebound, Valentine. Michigan State weathers that storm. 5.5 to go as they slow things down.
You got to be careful of a lob.
Appling the drive, switches hands and lays it in.
A pretty drive. Nobody came over to stop it.
17 now for Keith Appling. He's done extremely well in the Champions Classic, playing big games on a big stage against very good teams. 2 years ago, he had 22 against Duke. Last year, he had 19 against Kansas. Tonight, he's got 17 against Kentucky.
Well, again, Kentucky doesn't force Michigan State to use the screen. I mean, just a little jab step, and Aaron Harrison goes right into the screen and opens up the middle. You've got to force that ball handler into the screen.
And here come the big guys. Payne for Michigan State, Randall for Kentucky.
And that's something that's pretty easily cleaned up that these players are going to learn. And you know it's been taught to them, but it hasn't taken hold yet, but it will. And even with all these free throw misses, with all the turnovers, Kentucky's just down a bucket. It's amazing. What fight.
Inside 5 minutes to go. Harris, Kentucky fans thought he got away with a walk. Still loose. Kentucky's got it, and a foul is the call. No basket. Randall got held before he made the pass. The foul's on Appling.
And Aaron Harrison out in front of the crowd. And Julius Randle fouled before he could make that pass. That was a foul. That's probably something you could have let go because it took a bucket away.
Yep.
And in the NBA, that would be called a clear path foul. And I actually like that rule. I think that would be a great rule to bring to college basketball because that took a bucket away from Kentucky.
John Calipari never missing an opportunity to have a discussion with the officials, and Tom Izzo wants to know what gives.
Keith Appling clearly fouled Julius Randle, but that foul took away a bucket, but it is going to put Kentucky on the line.
Well, Randall's the guy who's got to be on the line. Randall 5 of 9 shooting free throws tonight.
And Kentucky's really made a stand in the second half defensively, and this is the guy that's been the big contributor on both ends, on the glass, and he's been unstoppable in the post.
He has his third consecutive game in as many games at Kentucky. 3 consecutive games of at least 20 points and at least 10 rebounds. And this game improbably is tied.
You have to give these young Kentucky players a lot of credit. They have really fought back.
Valentine thought about it. Appling will take it and hit it. First field goal in 7 minutes. Now a steal. And Harris lays it in. A quick 5 points for the Spartans.
Keith Appling knocks down the corner 3. He was ready to shoot off that Valentine.
Especially the freshman. You want to play in a game like this? Let's see what you got.
And he's not above challenging his players, no matter if they're seniors or freshmen. Let's see how they respond again. 4:18 to go, down by 5.
I think you go to Randall. He's got Adrian Payne on him. Payne's got 4. 4 minutes to go. He's not going to want to pick up number 5.
John Calipari hollering out for the bench, trying to move James Young. They want to get the ball in on this side. Randall spins. Payne got a piece. Randall again. And if it's Payne, he's gone. Who's the foul on?
I don't think it was on Payne. It looked like a reach in.
Yeah, it's on Valentine. Fourth on Denzel Valentine to take us to the under 4 media timeout. With all kinds of drama coming in the last 3:51. Kentucky roars back. Michigan State reclaims the lead. And we'll see how it finishes here. Should it be exciting? Down to the wire to game one of the State Farm Champions Classic here in Chicago. Two of the professional basketball world are here in the house tonight to watch all of this great talent. Danny Ainge is here. Grant Hill is in the house tonight, getting ready for the Duke game, the second game. Tom Thibodeau, coach of the Chicago Bulls. Speaking of Chicago Bulls, Scottie Pippen is here watching these games tonight. Luol Deng. Boy, Duke must be playing in the second game. And of course, Magic is in the house watching the Spartans. Chris Mullen. Looks like Ed Pinckney. Was that Ed Pinckney beside him?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Easy Ed Pinckney.
Well, Randall getting the bounce after he missed a couple recently. Kentucky is back in this game. They have trailed by as many as 15. They have never led. If they can make their free throws, they got a shot, but they're under 50% as a team from the stripe on the night.
Well, they've missed 14 free throws, but they have dominated. Kentucky has the glass in the second half. They have out-rebounded Michigan State by a dozen in the second half.
And off the fingertips of Randall. It hit Payne and then hit Randall, evidently, so Michigan State retains possession.
Michigan State did a pretty good job in the first half of executing on out of bounds underneath.
Appling almost slipped. Payne working hard for position. What a battle between him and Randall down low. And now the foul comes.
Just a reach in. A late reach on the part of Julius Randle to pick up the foul.
His fourth.
That's a foul. If he just stayed strong there and used his body, he had very good position.
Another huge night for Randall, but now he's got 4, as does Payne. Quiet second half, in large part, due to foul trouble for Adrian Payne, who was dominant in the first half.
Free throws and turnovers have really hurt the Wildcats in this one. They were a little early there, but it went in anyway.
And Brandon Dawson back in for the Spartans. And Alex Gauna will come out of the game. So Dawson's played some 3, has played some 4, and has been on Randall a lot in tonight's game, and he's going to be on Randall right now.
Michigan State slapping the floor, trying to make a defensive stand here. Adrian Payne really shading toward Randall. Stein's got to be active.
Young off the back of the iron in a big-time collision. And Appling is fortunate not to have been injured on that play. Andrew Harrison called for the foul, his 4th.
Shows you how strong Andrew Harrison is.
And Gary Harris.
He knocks everybody. Appling popped up pretty quickly.
Yep. How important is he to the Spartans' chances of going to a Final Four this year?
I think he's vital. And he really spent a lot of time this summer looking at film of some of the very best point guards in the country. Well, that's a pretty darn good line there. 20 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals. He's done everything well. But really what Tom Izzo wants him to do better than anything is to lead. And he has done a really good job of distributing. He's been more of a pass-first point guard. And Izzo has said he's never been selfish. That's not been an issue. Keith Appling's had an outstanding career. I mean, he's been a winner, but he's looking to be a champion, a national champion. And he's got the ability and the team to do it.
Makes them both. Back up to 7. 9-2 run for the Spartans since Kentucky tied it at 66.
Now, with such a young team, here's the question: what quality of shot will Kentucky get coming down the stretch? Will they settle or will they get something good?
Tough shot. Young follows it up and gets it to go to make it a 5-point game.
Boy, what a rebound.
Valentine, great look. Harris, baseline, draws the foul.
Willie Cauley-Stein with a loose closeout that opened up the drive for Gary Harris. And Poitras was late and just ran right into him. That was a good drive by Harris. A little shot fake, looked at the rim, and got Cauley-Stein to run right past him.
Well, you had a lot of these guys for Michigan State playing last year, but they're playing at a different level this year because they're healthy. They're free to take chances, make plays, something that they couldn't always do last year.
Gary Harris had those shoulder issues, and Brandon Dawson was coming back off an ACL injury. It was really amazing he played at the level he did, but it never looked like he was completely comfortable or confident in that knee.
Yeah, he's got a lot more bounce in him this year, though.
Ooh. Powerful bounce.
Yep. It'll be Dawson on Randall again. 2:20 to go. Kentucky with the ball down 6.
Michigan State still really packing it in.
And a foul on Dawson.
A lot of contact on that exchange. Andrew Harrison setting a little screen at the elbow to try to cause a switch and get Julius Randle isolated in the low post.
And Randle back to the line again for Kentucky. He is 9 for 13 at the line tonight. And in the first 2 games for the Wildcats this year, he shot 27 free throws. So with that miss, he's now shot 41 free throws in 3 games this season.
Well, he better get into the gym and work on it because he's going to shoot a ton of free throws before this season's over. This is not some anomaly. This young man is going to wear out that free throw line. He's got to make him to be an even greater weapon there. He's an unbelievable weapon in live action. You put him at the free throw line, he spends a lot of time there. He can really be a weapon.
Kentucky's missed 16 of their 34. Payne, Cauley-Stein with a rejection.
That was a big-time block. And that's why you don't want to foul and put your hands on him, because you got shot blockers behind you. What a great play by Cauley-Stein.
Poitras. Valentine stays with him. Young's open. Poitras, another offensive rebound. Andrew Harrison is fouled. I think it's Appling. And more free throws coming now for Kentucky. We've got more college basketball coming your way with a doubleheader on Sunday. You'll see the Michigan Wolverines taking on Iowa State at 5 Eastern, and then Kentucky in action again as they take on Robert Morris. College basketball on Sunday at 5 and 7 on ESPN2. Win or lose, what does John Calipari take out of this game as the coach of a team that is dominated by freshmen?
Well, they've got a lot to build on. There are a lot of great things that John Calipari has with this team. He's got tremendous talent, and they're not far off. They knock their free throws down, they take care of the ball, they make some better decisions. They're not only in the ball game, they're leading by a fair margin. But he's got to like the fact that they fought back in the second half, and they didn't hang their heads, and they're in a position to win this game.
And a timeout taken by Tom Izzo to set something up with 1:18 to go and 20 left on the shot clock.
This is a 30-second timeout.
30-second timeout for Michigan State. Don't forget, Kansas and Duke are still to come. Duke number 4, Kansas number 5. More outstanding new faces on the college basketball landscape, including Andrew Wiggins and Jabari Parker, who we will see in the second game. One of the big stories tonight for the guys in green in the first game has been their ability to run.
Well, basketball is a game of mistakes, and Michigan State has taken advantage of the mistakes that Kentucky has made in transition. Off the turnovers, they've been able to score, and Kentucky did not do a very good job of stopping the ball or of getting back. In fact, on certain possessions, only some guys even tried to get back. But Michigan State has shown they can be a really effective running team, put a lot of pressure on your transition defense, get easy baskets going the other way. And Michigan State has not turned the ball over. 21-2 in fast break points. That's a gigantic advantage for the Spartans. And Michigan State has not turned the ball over. They haven't had a turnover in the last 15 minutes.
Boy, a little more attention to detail for Kentucky in defensive transition, or just knocking down some free throws, and this is a whole different game.
Yeah, Kentucky's not very far off. They can clean a lot of this stuff up pretty easily.
Appling turns it over. Well, you just said, what, 15 minutes since they had turned the ball over? They picked a bad time for that one.
I think Appling should have taken that all the way and tried to finish it himself.
So Kentucky's got the ball back, just over a minute to go.
1 minute remaining.
Michigan State has really stayed solid. They stayed in front, made it tough to drive. Their help has been terrific.
Young, Cauley Stein juggles. Andrew Harrison can't get the shot off. Now 10 to shoot for the Wildcats. Randall's been the go-to guy. Draws a triple team and finishes anyway.
And what a patient move and a terrific pass into Randall. Double teamed and still able to make it.
27 on the night. About a 5.5-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock.
Wonder if Tom Izzo's going to call a timeout here to get exactly what he wants.
It looks like he might. He's standing beside Ted Valentine and now will call it. Again with 20 to shoot, 25.5 to play.
This is the 30-second timeout.
So even with 25 seconds left, he's not into strategy yet. He's still correcting previous mistakes. And even though he doesn't have freshmen, there's always a teaching moment at this level.
Well, no question. They can take the shot clock all the way down here and shoot it at the end of that. They get 20 seconds left on the clock, 25.5 in regulation. And that'll still leave an opportunity for an offensive rebound, leave even less time for Kentucky if they are to miss to take it the other way.
Do you want to see ball screen action again? Has that been their go-to offense?
That's been the most effective thing. Because the problem is, if you do that, you're bringing a double team to the ball, but I don't think Kentucky has been quite as proficient in putting that on and guarding those ball screens. So I would expect that he would try to use a ball screen and try to get something going to the rim and be strong with the ball. If you get fouled, you're shooting 2 free throws.
Remember, Michigan State turned it over on their last possession. Julius Randle has been outstanding here in the second half and has put up monster numbers again. Meanwhile, Gary Harris, who was so good in the first half, has been very quiet in the second half. Here's Harris. Now back to Appling. Payne the screen.
And a switch.
Appling the kick. Valentine the drive. Put back, yes! Dawson! 4-point game. Timeout, Kentucky. John Calipari livid.
Well, we talked about putting that shot up because Michigan State would have an opportunity for an offensive rebound. And one of the best offensive rebounders in the country, Brandon Dawson, right there to tip it in. Nobody put a body on him. After this drive by Denzel Valentine, nobody was able to block out Brandon Dawson, who had inside position. What a huge play for Michigan State to get that offensive rebound tip in.
Boy, Dawson's going to get a lot of those this year now that he's got his bounce back.
And oftentimes, Dan, as you know, it's not the initial shot that beats you, it's the offensive rebound.
Yep. So now, unless the Spartans do something silly with 4.4 seconds to go, they should be okay. And Kentucky will have the ball, but they're down by 4. Duke and Kansas still to come about 20 minutes after the conclusion of this game.
Well, right now for Kentucky, John Calipari calls the timeout. You're going to have to get something going toward the basket, or you're going to have to get a quick 3 and then foul right away.
Kentucky out of timeouts, as you can see. Michigan State's got one. 4.4 to go. Spartans back on the floor. John Calipari still diagramming over in his huddle.
Well, even though it's a 2-possession game, Calipari still wants to see his team execute. And with 4.4 seconds, highly unlikely you can get the ball back. You can score and get the ball back, but certainly not impossible.
Young, Randall, Poitras, and both Harrison twins.
One thing that Michigan State does not want to do here is foul.
Young.
Too far away. That's ball game.
And Michigan State will win it. Despite a furious comeback by Kentucky that got them all the way back from 15 down into a tie, the Spartans defeat the Wildcats 78-74 in the first game of two that we will have for you tonight here in Chicago. A hard-earned win by the Spartans.
Got to give Kentucky a lot of credit for the comeback they made in the second half, but they could never take the lead. Michigan State down the stretch just made the plays they needed to win, and that huge tip-in by Brandon Dawson sealed it.
So the young Wildcats, they go down early, but then show a lot of resolve getting back into the game, but eventually fall to Michigan State 78-70.